2024 has been quite the eventful year. Even though there's been a lot of games that have actually come out this year, whether you realize it or not, most of the games either die, get closed down, or just release in a state that's almost unbearable to play. The last time we made a video like this, we actually covered all the games that had come up to that certain point. And I believe that was about 3 months ago. And over the past couple of months, there actually has been a handful of games that have released to the public since then. And today we're going to be ranking those games from great games to games that are just not playable. And even though this year isn't over, and within the next couple of months before this year ends, we do have a number of games that are meant to come out. But a lot of the games that were actually meant to come out are probably not coming out this year, which is quite unfortunate. Anyways, without further ado, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button. Let's get straight into this video. Kicking things off with Paradox. Now, it is quite unfortunate. Paradox came out and died, well, in a very short time span. Even though the developers worked super hard on the game, I think they focused the efforts in most of the wrong areas, because the game's progression was pretty bland. The game was very buggy upon release. The game actually didn't have that much content, and there was a list of other things that kind of went wrong with this game. Now, the game is closed and is in maintenance for the next couple of weeks, but I'm sure the developers can cook up something and make the game better. But I'm not too sure how much can be done in the time span of 3 weeks. I mean, for crying out loud, there isn't even Bankai. So I'm not too sure how much the developers can get done in the space of a couple of weeks. I do think if they need the time, they should take the time to just completely revamp the whole game. Nobody's gonna fault them for doing that. But in the state that the game came out in, well, I'm just gonna put it in could be better. Next, we have Sorcery. Now, Sorcery is technically not out, but the free test that was meant to last a week got extended to 2 weeks because the game actually started getting really popular. People actually liked Sorcery, and I do too. However, the game, well, doesn't have any content, if we're being quite honest. And it's honestly the same thing over and over until you get to a certain point, you do something a little bit different, which is pretty entertaining to a certain extent, but then you do the same thing over and over again until you get to the culling games, which is actually a pretty fun mode. I'm not gonna lie, pretty entertaining. But after that, you're back to doing the exact same thing you've been doing since the start of the game, and that's honestly just spamming missions. Not that entertaining. And the way you go about getting rare items, rare gear, etc. is all the same thing. You literally spend your entire time inside of Sorcery doing the exact same repetitive thing. But the combat actually carries the game, and the potential this game has is still pretty up there. Whether the developers are going to be able to deliver on that potential, well, only God knows. So for that, I'm going to be putting it in hit or miss. Next, we have quite an odd game, Anime Vanguards. Now, Anime Vanguards has actually only came out 2 or 3 weeks ago, even though it feels longer. Well, that's probably because it's a tower defense game, and there are 50 million tower defense games in the anime genre. But Anime Vanguards is actually the first tower defense game I've played since Anime Adventure. And I'm not gonna lie to you, I've spent a fair amount of time in this game. If we want to be exact, I've spent actually 24 hours and 35 minutes playing Anime Vanguards. And trust me, this isn't all AFK time, it's actual playtime. But don't worry, I haven't spent a dime on this game. Well, that's a lie, I bought VIP. I don't even know why. Anime Vanguards doesn't even have that much content, but there is a sort of addicting, it's addictive, and it keeps pulling me back in for some reason. Now, I'm not gonna lie, does this game do anything different to the other tower defense games? Just a tiny bit, not really. The units have passives, the units look cool, and different traits and passives combo together when you evolve makes the units even cooler. There's small things in this game that make it a little bit more entertaining than the rest of its competitors. However, this game is no different to any of the other tower defense games in hindsight, but if I have to be quite honest, I'm gonna put Anime Vanguards in good game. Next, we have Divas of Creation. Now, this game came out about a month ago. I think it's been a month at least. And the game did exactly what it was meant to do. Came out, delivered on the MMORPG formula, and did it to a good extent. Now, I do have my qualms with this game. On surface level, the game actually seems like it has a bunch of content, but if you actually get to the end game content and look back on your playthrough, this game doesn't actually have a lot of content. The game looks like it has a lot of content because sometimes you end up doing the same thing in a fashion where it takes you a long time to actually get that task done, which just adds to the playtime. On top of most of your playtime, you're going to spend that time collecting materials, which requires you to do the same thing over and over for long hours. And most of the mobs, even though they may look completely different, have the actual exact same movesets. So basically you're kind of fighting the same mob over and over, they just look different on surface. And I'm not gonna lie, if you look at that from the outside looking in, that could be seen as quite lazy. But I'm not trying to discredit the developers, they've worked really hard on the game, and I genuinely like Divas of Creation. So I'm gonna be quite biased here and put it in a good game. Next we have Heroes Online 2. Now Heroes Online 2, when it was first showcased to the public, or at least the showcase I watched, the game actually looked pretty good. The developers made the game look like there was a lot of interesting and cool gameplay mechanics, gameplay features, and they were switching up how progression worked in a My Hero game, an anime game in general. However, when the game actually came out, oh my gosh, it felt like a 2020 Roblox anime game. That's the nicest way to put it. The progression was in fact not different and actually pretty worse than your standard anime game. And using a quirk doesn't feel satisfying. The whole point of a My Hero game is to be able to enjoy using your quirk. But in Heroes Online 2, using a quirk just feels lackluster to say the least. And the combat doesn't help that in any way, shape or form. For Heroes Online 2, I'm gonna have to put it in do not press the play button. And it doesn't help that I spent over 10k Robux on this game. Next we have Anime Card Battle. Now Anime Card Battle has been here for about 2 months or just over a month. And I actually have played it. I played it for like an hour or two. And it's basically just an RNG game with anime characters that are cards. And then you can use rare cards or cards you pull that are high, like rare chance, to battle other cards. It's kind of scuffed. Now this game is actually doing decently well. The gameplay is very minuscule. It's not that much to actually do, and the gameplay isn't actually satisfying in any way, shape or form to me personally. I'll be so real, I've played it for 2 hours and I think I've experienced all I need to experience. There's no need for me to AFK farm anime cards. I'm gonna put this in do not press the play button. Next we have Shonin Smash, and I'm not gonna lie to you, this game had a beautiful release. The gameplay was fun, engaging, and don't get me started on playing this game with friends or on stream with my beautiful AGZ gang viewers for games night. Genuinely entertaining, competitive, etc. Yes, the game didn't come out with as much characters as one would probably desire, but the game nevertheless was good. And I'm not gonna lie to you, the tragic part about all of this is we're probably never gonna see this game get updated ever again. The owner has actually abandoned not only his community, but I'm pretty sure the whole game. If you don't know, the Shonin Smash Discord server was actually deleted. It's gone. And with that, people are just gonna assume that Shonin Smash is never gonna get an update again. I mean, if you look at the game, it says it hasn't been updated in about 2 weeks. Now, from the information I've gathered from this, the community was being really toxic to the developer or the owner, 10, for a couple of bugs, hiccups, changes that he made, and the overwhelming toxicity actually just ended up getting to him. So he said, F it. Why would I have to, and why do I have to deal with this nonsense? I'm just gonna close down the game, or close the Discord server, which he did. I don't think he was expecting to get such a huge amount of popularity on the game's release, paired with people actually criticizing him, his work, being toxic, and just having negative feedback overall. But what I want to say about this situation is, this is the Roblox community in general. I don't even want to classify it as anime. This is the Roblox community. As a developer, even as a content creator, anyone that's a creative on this platform is going to have good and negative feedback. And sometimes even when you have an overwhelmingly amount of good feedback, even if it's only small, the negative feedback stands out the most. It's easy to see the negative over the positive. However, it's how you deal with the negative that determines everything. Take it from me, someone who gets negative feedback every second of the day. I genuinely don't care. And when I do care, I just cuss you out. I do not mind arguing with a 12-year-old in my comment section. I actually want all the smoke. But everybody actually deals with things differently, so I can't actually blame him for handling the situation how he did. But if you're going to be a developer wanting to create a successful game, if the game is successful, you need to be prepared to have feedback that may not actually align with what you want to see. People are toxic on this platform. That's just the matter of the fact. But Shonin Smash is a good game through and through, so I'm gonna place it in good game. Next we have Eternal Battlegrounds. Now I actually don't have much to say. I know I just did a whole speech on negativity and positivity and feedback, but Eternal Battlegrounds is actual crud. Now Uzuki definitely did work hard on this game, to a certain extent. A lot of the game's features are lazy, but he tried to polish and fix upon that. And actually the game was closed for a while, and I'm not too sure when, but it recently opened again. The game has like 100 players. Now I don't even think people know the game reopened. Uzuki's marketing for this game hasn't actually been the best. Not too sure what he's doing. But his community has definitely abandoned him when it comes to Eternal Battlegrounds, and it's honestly his fault. The way he's handled everything hasn't actually been the best. So honestly, I've played Eternal Battlegrounds once, and I hate Battlegrounds games in the first place, so I'm probably never gonna play it again. And I recommend you not do the same. And last but not least, we have Realm Rampage. Now I know I just said I hate Battlegrounds games, but Realm Rampage, when I played it, was actually fun to a certain extent. Battlegrounds games are actually boring, no offense. Yes, I did have fun with the game for about an hour, and then I got bored like instantly. It was like snapping your fingers instantly. But the game is good, the developers do work hard and add new and keep the game updated etc. Now when Realm Rampage actually came out, it was probably one of the most popular games on the platform. Compared to now, it is more sitting at a handful of players, anywhere between 4 to 10k, which is actually still good and pretty successful. So I wish the developers luck. However, I do not care for Battlegrounds games whatsoever, so I'm gonna place that a hit or miss. Now, I know you guys are saying, Agz, you didn't put anything in great game category. Well, that's because we haven't had a great game, if we're being quite honest. If tower defenses is your definition of great game, where there's actually more AFKing than actual playing, then by all means, that's for you. It's just not for me. Divas is great. However, there is a lot of copy and paste in terms of the mobs, which I genuinely did not like. If I'm fighting a new mob or if I'm in a new area, I do want the mob to feel completely different from the mob I just fought in the other biome, and I just don't like that, genuinely. And Shonin Smash is a great game too. However, it's been abandoned and the game didn't actually get to see its full potential. Its roster, character roster at least, was just too small. And everything else is everything else. I explained those anyways. So if you agree with me, let me know in the comment section down below. If you don't agree with me, let me know why in the comment section down below. Also, if you made it this far, I love and appreciate you. I'm gonna see you guys in the next feed.